Welcome to Unwiring Tech, where we break down the latest in AI, technology, policy, and global regulations. I'm Ranjana, your host, and today we are unpacking a policy that stirred up the global tech community before being abruptly rolled back: the AI Diffusion Rule. This rule, introduced by the Biden administration in early 2025 and scrapped just months later, was the United States' first major attempt at compute governance. An effort to control the flow of high-performance AI chips to safeguard national security. It was to take effect on 15th of May 2025, but US Department of Commerce formally rescinded the Biden administration's Artificial Intelligence Diffusion Rule days before it was set to go into effect. But what went wrong? Why did US retract it so quickly? And what does it tell us about the future of AI geopolitics, global alliances, and innovation under constraint? Stay with me as I unravel the rise and rollback of a policy that aimed to shape the global flow of AI power but may have done just the opposite. In the rapidly evolving field of AI, compute power has become the new currency of technological dominance. Against the backdrop of intensifying competition between the United States and China, there is a growing awareness that compute capacity forms the essential foundation of modern AI capabilities. This encompasses a broad spectrum of applications, from civilian innovations like generative AI to critical military technologies such as autonomous weapon systems. At the core of this compute infrastructure are US manufactured graphic processing units, GPUs, particularly NVIDIA's H100 chips, which remain vital for high-performance AI training. Unlike data or algorithms, compute infrastructure is inherently tied to physical manufacturing and geography, making it uniquely amenable to centralized control. As detailed in Governance.ai's report, compute functions as a strategic choke point in the AI ecosystem. Its production demands immense capital investment, advanced fabrication technology, and it's currently concentrated among a handful of primarily US-based companies. These factors elevate compute to a crucial leverage point for governments seeking to shape the global trajectory of AI development. So now let's understand the rule, the rationale, and the rollout. The AI Diffusion Rule represented the first major policy articulation of this governance vision, implemented through the US Department of Commerce, Bureau of Industry and Security. The rule sought to operationalize a tiered framework for export controls that reflected the strategic alignment of recipient countries. Tier 3 countries included China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, were subjected to complete prohibition on export of high-performance AI chips. Tier 2 countries, which included a diverse mix of partners such as India, Israel, and UAE, faced partial restrictions, including processing power ceilings, verified end-user requirements, and data center security mandates. Tier 1 countries, encompassing 17 trusted allies, and Taiwan was exempt from restrictions, facilitating seamless technological collaboration. The policy's dual objective were clear: to impede adversarial advancements in frontier AI capabilities, particularly China's, and to preserve American dominance over the global semiconductor and AI ecosystem. However, political changes led to the rule's repeal in May 2025, signaling challenges in balancing security with innovation and diplomacy. While rescinding it, US Commerce Undersecretary Jeffrey Kessler said that the Trump administration will work to replace the Biden-era rule in order to pursue AI with trusted foreign countries around the world while keeping the technology out of hands of our adversaries. Now let's understand what were the consequences of this rule. Despite its ambitious scope, the AI Diffusion Rule quickly exposed significant shortcomings. While conceived as a national security measure, the AI Diffusion Rule produced several unintended and counterproductive outcomes. Number 1. Diplomatic frictions with key allies. More broadly, the rule's unilateral design stood in tension with emerging multilateral ethos of AI governance. The imposition of Tier 2 control on middle power nations like India and the UAE, which are key partners in the US in its Indo-Pacific and Middle East strategic frameworks, sparked diplomatic unease. These countries perceived the restrictions as signals of strategic mistrust, prompting them to accelerate efforts to diversify AI supply chains and build domestic compute capacity. In doing so, they began laying the groundwork for independent, non-US aligned AI ecosystem. Ironically, this response ran counter to the rule's core objective of limiting the global diffusion of advanced AI capabilities. The disconnect was especially evident in India's push to scale its domestic AI infrastructure and investment in indigenous chip design, a clear move to reduce reliance on US technological exports and assert greater sovereignty over AI development pathways. Second, damage to US technology industry. By curbing access to international markets, the rule inadvertently threatened the economic backbone of US semiconductor industry. Companies like Nvidia depend heavily on global demand to finance cutting-edge research and maintain their edge in chip design and innovation. Restrictive policies risk eroding this competitive advantage by constraining the very revenue streams that fuel technological leadership. Industry leaders warned that limiting global sales could not only stifle domestic innovation but also weaken America's broader strategic influence, diminishing its ability to shape global AI norms through economic interconnectedness rather than isolation. Third, stimulation of black markets and workarounds. Notably, China continued to make strides in AI development despite earlier export restrictions imposed in year 2022. This policy appeared to underestimate the resourcefulness and adaptability of targeted jurisdictions. Over time, reports emerged of resellers exploiting loopholes to bypass export controls, channeling restricted chips into prohibited regions. Investigations uncovered a robust grey market with transshipment hubs like Hong Kong serving as key nodes in the illicit supply chain. These unauthorized flows reveal a critical weakness in the enforcement regime, demonstrating that even under stringent controls, diversion through third-party intermediaries remained a persistent and difficult to contain vulnerability. Fourth, innovation born of scarcity, the DeepSeek case. Perhaps the most profound consequences was the incentivization of innovation under constraint. China's DeepSeek project emerged as a testament to algorithmic advancement driven by compute scarcity. By optimizing models to function with limited hardware, Chinese researchers developed more efficient training methodologies that ironically could leapfrog existing US approaches. Coupled with Huawei's suspected use of American origin technologies in the development of its Ascent chips, the policy inadvertently accelerated the rise of parallel AI ecosystem that operate beyond the ambit of US control. Now, in response to all these challenges, the US Department of Commerce shifted strategy after repealing the AI Diffusion Rule. The withdrawal of AI Diffusion Rule on May 13, 2025 marks a strategic recalibration. Acknowledging the rule's unintended consequences, the BIS has signaled a pivot toward more targeted, bilateral approach to export control and compliance. This refined strategy reflects an emergent consensus among US policymakers that blanket restrictions can backfire, undermining both national security and economic competitiveness. To bridge the regulatory gap left by rules revocation, BIS has since released 3 focused guidance documents aimed at strengthening enforcement of existing controls. First, AI Counter Diversion Industry Guidance provides practical indicators of evasion strategies such as unusual purchasing patterns, example bulk orders using residential addresses, and inadequate compute infrastructure among buyers. Second, General Prohibition 10 Guidance warns against engagement with Chinese origin Ascent chips manufactured by Huawei, which are suspected of circumventing export controls through illicit means. It also encourages firms to conduct rigorous due diligence in managing their supply chains. Third, AI Policy Statement on Controls for Training AI Models reiterates the national security risks of training powerful AI systems in adversarial jurisdictions and underscores the importance of securing proper licenses and compliance verification. These documents reflect a shift in US posture from sweeping control regimes to a more nuanced regulatory architecture to the one that balances national security imperatives with global technological interdependence. At the end, the AI Diffusion Rule serves as cautionary episode in the evolution of AI governance. While its strategic intent was clear, the policy's execution revealed the inherent complexity of governing an interconnected, fast-moving technological domain. In the interconnected digital world, rigid unilateral controls may not only fail to achieve their intended outcomes, but also inadvertently catalyze rival innovation, fragment global supply chains, and weaken domestic industry. As the US rethinks its strategy, it faces a delicate balancing act, protecting critical technologies without isolating allies or stifling global competitiveness. In the long term, effective compute governance will likely require multilateral frameworks, transparent enforcement mechanisms, and a deep engagement with both industry and international partners. The rollback of AI diffusion rule underscores a critical lesson in contemporary tech statecraft. Safeguarding technological leadership demands not just protectionism, but proactive, inclusive, and adaptive policy making. Thanks for tuning in to Unwiring Tech. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, keep exploring the future of AI and policy.